Hello, part-time digital marketing 3 students. Welcome back again to lesson 56. And in this lesson, we are going to be looking at decision 5 of strategy formulation. So we have looked at decision 1, we've looked at decision 2, we've looked at decision 3, and we've looked at decision 4. And now it is your duty to familiarize yourself with those decisions and how they can be used as part of strategy formulation. So now we are going to have a look at decision 5, which talks about customer engagement and social media strategy. So once you have known the market and product development as part of your decision 1, once you have known the business models and the revenue that you are going to consider as decision 2, once you have known your target media, the people that you are going to engage with, the people that you are going to draw as part of your customers, the people that you are going to implement the race model, the acquisition and the conversion as part of your decision 3. Once you have known how you are going to differentiate yourself from competitors, as well as offer that preferable online value proposition as decision 4, now you need to be able to look at how you are going to engage with your customers. You need to come up with your social media strategies that are going to fit in with your entire strategy. So this is then your decision 5. So we continue with the outcomes for lesson 40, for lesson 55 to lesson 67, if I remember, whereby we continue looking at the options and the decisions for strategy formulation. So at the end of this session, you should be able to distinguish between customer communication channels and distribution channels. You need to be able to make customer engagement and social media strategy decisions. And lastly, you need to be able to know multi-channel distribution strategy. So, customer engagement and social media strategy. A customer engagement strategy is required to keep the customers engaged. So a customer engagement strategy, it is the one that creates a bond between a brand and its customers. And a customer engagement strategy reviews approaches to create a good, compelling content and experiences that form the online value proposition. Then social media strategy. These are tactics used in communication to achieve interaction with social media, with social network users to meet business objectives. This one is very tricky because I remember when I asked students at the beginning of the year, what is it that you would like to be after completing this course? Most said they want to be social media managers. And I know that there is this assumption that, because you are so familiar with the Facebook platform that you use for your personal engagement, you can also be able to do the same for a business account. You need a social media strategy. So instead of communicating with the audience, you also need to achieve some levels of interaction. They need to communicate back with you. So how can you create content that is engaging? How can you create content that can easily create some KPIs in form of shares, in form of retweets, in form of likes, in form of contents, and so forth? So these are the stuff that you need to do so that you meet the business objectives. So there are common themes and common questions that you can ask or that you can answer as part of overall engagement and content marketing strategy. So the first question that you need to ask yourself, there are 9 questions that you need to consider. The first question that you need to ask yourself is, who are our target audience? This one sets a clear boundary on who you're going to talk to and what is it that you're going to talk about? This is always crucial because the languages, the style of communication differs with the target audience. If you are going to look at the youths, the language that you need to use for complete engagement or for complete interaction with the youths it has to be something, it has to be the style that resonates with them. You know, you need to use the language like dude, you need to use the language like hola, what's up, and stuff like that. But if you're going to target the senior citizens or the baby boomers, our parents or our grandparents, you can't say dude to your father, for example. So the language that you need to also use, it must show some kind of respect. It must show some kind of resonance with who you're targeting. Once you answer that question, your target audience will have a sense of belonging and they can be able to communicate back. And then we have a good interaction with them and we'll be able to know their wants and provide the services that they are tailored to their wants. Then you also need to ask yourself, what are the content preferences for our audience? So you'd realize that you've got customers who are everywhere. You've got the audience that is everywhere. People have got WhatsApp accounts, people have got Facebook accounts, people have got Twitter accounts, people have got Instagram accounts, people have got TikTok accounts, people have got LinkedIn account, people have got Telegram account and so forth. But they use those platforms for different purposes. So you need to be able to know the type of content and the type of platform. I think there's a question that is going to come about the platform that they prefer. So if they prefer the content related to traveling or to adventure or related to fun, you need to tailor your communications based on their content. Then you need to ask yourself which content type should they have a priority. The content sometimes, if you are talking about religion, for example, if you are talking about leisure, if you are talking about business, you need to prioritize that. So you're going to get that from the consumer insights. You're going to get that from the customer insights. Then how do we differentiate social channels for other communication channels? Should we consider content frequency and editorial calendar? This one is very crucial because there is time for everything. I think that has also been mentioned in the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible, where it says there's time for everything, time to sow and time to reap. It is the same thing with content when it comes to customer engagement. You need to know the timing. You need to know the timing. Sometimes you'd see a salesperson phoning a customer about insurance, and instead of the customer engaging with that salesperson about the product that she's selling, the first word that comes out of that customer will be bad timing. Call me later, So you need to sort of have an editorial calendar. Ask yourself, is this summer? Is this winter? If it is winter, have some sort of content that resonates with winter. If it's summer, have some content that resonates with summer. If it's in the morning, have some content that resonates with the morning. If it's in the afternoon, have some content that resonates with the afternoon. If it's Black Friday, have some content that resonates with Black Friday. If it's Easter holidays, have some content that resonates with Easter. And with all these, sometimes as human beings, we can always forget. So you need to have some automated editorial calendar and you need to have some automated frequency of content. You do not want to bombard your customers with content because you do not know how many newsletters you've sent out already. But if you have got an automated schedule, that will show you that per day we can have a dosage of content. The same way doctors will do when they prescribe medicines to you, that you can say 3 times a day or 3 times a month or 3 times in winter or 3 times per year. So you can have a sort of a frequency and editorial calendar as part of your customer engagement strategy. You also need to ask yourself, how do we manage publication and interaction? Should we use software for managing the publication process? Should we be tracking the business impact of social media activities? This is very crucial, and many people get written warnings or even end up losing their jobs, especially if you cannot see the impact of the customer engagement on business. Is it leading to more sales or is it leading to more loss? So whatever engagement that you are having with customers, it needs to somehow boost customer retention and customer acquisition. So your engagement with your customers is going to determine whether customers will end up buying a product or whether those who have already bought a product will come back and buy something else. So it will become a repeat purchase, which is customer retention. So you should be able to ask yourself, how are you going to track the business impact of the engagement that you are having with customers? You also need to ask yourself, how do we then optimize our online or social presence? So these are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Then you also need to understand multi-channel distribution of your product or services. A distribution channel refers to the flow of products from manufacturer or a service provider to the end customer. We have done this when we're doing micro-analysis, when we look at intermediaries, that sometimes you can use intermediaries as part of your distribution channel. So players in the supply chain will determine structure, and this will determine goods getting to the right place at the right time. We have click and mortar, whereby customers will go online, you go to clicks online, you select a product that you want, you pay online, you go and collect it in store. Then we have click only, whereby everything is done online. Then the product is delivered at your doorstep. So key decisions you need to ask yourself when it comes to a distribution channel and how you are going to form a synchronization between offline distribution and online distribution. So is it only going to be click online and collect at the store physically, or is it going to be click online and the order gets delivered at your doorstep? So you need to ask yourself, should the internet complement the company's other channels or replace other channels? So you need to ask yourself whether the digital platforms that we have can complete the sale, or you also need the offline world. Considering what has been happening in South Africa and considering the digital divide, the cost of internet, people being able to afford digital devices or not, it is always tricky to migrate fully to digital platforms. We have seen this with Takealot. Takealot, when it started, it was an only digital distribution strategy. So you used to click something and it gets delivered to your address. But nowadays, ever since it has been existing, Takealot has created multiple collection centers. You go to Fourways, you find one. You go to Tembisa, you find one. You go to Midrand and so forth. So that's one of the ways we can use physical infrastructure to complement the internet. So it is not only the internet that can complement the company's other channels, but other channels can actually complement the internet. So Kuma suggests replacement most likely to happen when? So if you want to completely move to the digital platform, if you want a 100% digital migration, customers need to access the internet. So customer access has to be very high. Almost everyone in the communities must be able to access the internet, which is currently tricky in South Africa because of the economic and social factors and technological factors. Not everyone is online. There are some people who cannot access the internet due to poverty and also due to their physical location. Some are based in rural areas where there's no internet at all, where there's no signal, network signal. Then You can also fully migrate to digital platforms when the internet can offer better value proposition than other media. So here, when you say other media, we mean traditional media such as billboards, television, radio, and so forth. You can also fully migrate to digital when product can be delivered over the internet, and not all products can be delivered over the internet, by the way. And when the product can be standardized, and also if all the conditions are met, then replacement is the way forward. So technical integration, organizations will have to plan for integration with customers and suppliers. So you need to know how. I've seen most online customers, e-commerce sites, they also do this. You know, you buy something from Technomobi. Yeah, it says Techno Computers. I can't remember what it is. So you buy from an e-commerce, but when you order that product, it is coming directly from the supplier, not from the brand's warehouse. So there need to be an integration between customers and suppliers. So you buy an Apple phone from a brand that offers e-commerce services, but instead of getting that iPhone from that brand, you get it directly from an iPhone store or from an iPhone warehouse. So there has to be links with single customers, which is individual customers. There also have to be links with intermediaries. So these will be wholesalers. And there also have to be links with businesses. So that's it about lesson 56. And I understand that by now, you should be able to know how to consider decision 5 of strategy formulations when engaging with customers and coming up with a social media strategy as well as a multi-channel distribution strategy. If there are any questions, please don't hesitate to reach me on WhatsApp. I prefer questions that are asked directly in the available discussion forums so that we can be able to discuss with other students, and so that that question or that query or that comment or that addition can also benefit those who did not ask. Thank you. Meet you again in lesson 57.